The feeding technique of soldering is the simplest to execute and useful for most soldering situations. In addition to the project being soldered, the feeding technique requires a soldering iron and flux core solder. Start by taking your hot, clean iron in one hand and the solder wire in the other, extending the solder an inch to 1.5 inches past your fingers. The feeding technique itself is a 4-step process of applying heat, applying solder, removing the solder, and removing the heat. First, place the tip of the soldering iron on the location to be soldered so that both the pad and the lead receive direct heat. Second, feed the solder into the corner created by the pad, the lead, and the soldering iron tip. Contact the tip last so the solder doesn't melt too soon. Third, pull the solder away when enough has melted to make a solder joint. Fourth, remove the iron and give the new solder joint a second or two to solidify. Let's watch this process in real time. Apply heat, feed solder, remove heat. Apply heat, feed solder, remove heat. Do not apply heat to the board for more than 5 seconds at a time. Excess heat can damage the board and components. If you are unable to make a good solder joint in the first few attempts, clean the iron tip and ensure it is at temperature. Click here for the next Soldering Skills for the Beginner video. If you have any questions about the material discussed, please use the comment section below and we will get back to you as soon as possible.